Yeah, I felt it like more than I've ever felt it, to be honest.
You see, it's because you're controlling the weight. If you come to the gym with ego, trust me, you are your worst enemy. And everything I'm telling you not to do, I have done wrong as well. So I know. So I'm not just preaching, I know what I'm talking about because I've experienced that.
My goal is to prime myself to compete in UK's best natural bodybuilding stage at the later end of 2023. In order to do so, I will genuinely need to level up my knowledge with regards to my training, nutrition, and my mindset. I believe that in bodybuilding, as with life, you can never learn enough.
Hey guys, welcome to the first episode of Project Level Up. Today I'm joined with my good friend and the boss of Muscleworks, the godfather of bodybuilding, Sav Kyriakou, and he's going to push me through a chest workout, and then we're going to discuss about training, nutrition, and particularly mindset, something that is so important in this industry. Sav, do you want to introduce yourself?
Okay, hi, this is Sav. I'm here today to push and show some exercises to Brian, and I will explain why we do those exercises, why, and the reason why. And it's not what I think, is what it actually is, and the reason why it's the best exercises to develop your chest. We're going to start with a flat dumbbell press, which I think and I know is the best exercise for building the chest muscles. And the reason is because you have an insertion and you have an origin. Any muscle in your body, you move from the insertion to the origin. If you want to do with a bar, for example, okay, we're going to have to do it that way, which is very inefficient because you're not moving the muscle fibers from the insertion to the origin. And the muscle to be fully stimulated, so you don't waste time and effort and energy, is to do it completely. You contract the muscle fully, and that way you can generate more muscle fibers to move the weight, which that means you're creating more stimulation. A perfect set today.
Yeah, I felt it like more than I've ever felt it, to be honest.
You see, it's because you're controlling the weight, okay? You're not allowing outside forces to help you move the weight, okay? The load is on the muscle.
Yeah.
You use the muscles to move the weight, okay? You can use other forces, you can use your momentum, and that will take away from your muscles doing the weight.
Exactly, I don't feel any triceps, no shoulders.
Because you're not.
Just pure chest.
And that means growth. So all this business about these exercises for outer pegs, these exercises for inner pegs, is bullshit. The muscle fiber starts from one point and ends in another point. That's why people have to do 20, 30, 40 sets for chest, because they're not creating enough stimulation on each exercise. So they end up having to do volume training. But when you do volume training, you have to be able to recover. So, and if you're natural, like Brian is, and you're not using a lot of steroids, then how the hell are you going to recover? So,
Sav, why do you prefer to start with a flat instead of an incline?
Okay, with the incline, the problem with the incline, you have to move the weight, and the resistance, the line of resistance has to be with the width of the muscle fibers. Because we don't have chest muscles on our neck, from the minute you go like this gets involved. Look okay. How much prominent this is.
Yeah.
So the thing about incline is a false misconception about upper pecs and incline. Why would I want to exercise that I'm only going to hit the muscle 20, 30% and waste my energy to do that, when I can do an exercise that I can get 70, 80% stimulation on my pecs from that exercise. So if somebody comes up and says to me, yeah, but I've been doing dumbbell press and I haven't been really got big, it's because you haven't been doing it right.
Yeah.
You know, that's important. I keep stressing the fact. It's important. This is not me, this is physics. You know, if your muscle fibers are like ropes. So if you want to pull something as hard as possible, you got to pull it fully, not half. And that's what happens when you're doing half reps, because you want to show off to your friends or to your Instagram bullshit that you're doing 50 kg dumbbells, but in reality you're doing, the load on the muscle is only probably about 30 kg. you know, and you're wasting energy, risking the risk of having the risk of getting injured and accomplishing jack shit, pardon my language. And you can't lie to your brain. The messages that have been sent from your muscles to your brain are there. They're true messages.
Yeah.
So you have to learn and sort of take those messages and analyze them.
Yeah.
And be real and true to yourself.
Yeah. But should that final point be at where I hit 12 reps, or should that be something
if you
closer
can
to
get
8
it,
to
if
10?
you can get it, look, as long as you did 2 or 3 reps after you felt that initial
burn
sensation, then that's perfect.
Yeah.
This workout we're doing today is never going to come back. So if you wasted today, imagine how many other days you wasted,
precious,
for other body parts. For
sure.
So we've got to make, it's like a book, our muscles, okay? We read the page, we read it, we understand it, and we learn it. And all of a sudden, we learn the whole book. I think, oh my God, look, I've read that book. Well, those pages are your muscle fibers you're trying to create and get bigger.
Yeah.
And that's what it is.
Sounds good.
You have to get into that mindset of understanding and feeling that.
Yeah.
And forgetting ego.
For sure.
If you come to the gym with ego, trust me, you are your worst enemy.
Yeah.
And trust me, I have been there and I have done it. And everything I'm telling you not to do, I have done wrong is wrong. So I know. So I'm not just preaching. I know what I'm talking about because I've experienced that. Okay. So we're going to do chest press on this machine. You can see this is more or less in line with his pecs. I would have it a little bit lower. Okay, again. All right, that's perfect. Okay. All right. Make sure you move. You fully lock out.
Yeah.
You feeling already?
Yeah. I mean, I got more, but I can.
Yeah, we haven't got a lot of weight on the bar, but the fact is,
at the top of the.
When you go to the top, when you're fully contracting the muscles,
I feel the squeeze.
One more.
Wow.
Okay, you tell me how it feels.
Yes.
Look at even your breathing.
I don't only feel like
you feel everything.
I feel upper.
Everything, yeah.
You know, like the whole chest.
Because we're going back to the same situation because you're contracting the whole muscle.
And getting that second pause at the top.
Yeah, and that shows. But the thing is that people have, and they create a bit of a misinterpretation to the whole thing, is that they can jerk the weight out and they hold it at the top. They think that's okay. It's not the fact that you're holding the weight, because actually holding the weight, unless your muscles move the weight to that point, it's not good. You have to move it slowly and control. You don't even have to hold it at the top. You created, each rep is creating a muscle building situation because you're moving everything in the right way, in the right direction.
I am genuinely just feeling my chest and no other muscle group at all.
That's why if you're doing bodybuilding, the misconception that compound exercises are good, they're not really. Compound exercises are only good if you're just starting training, or if you're just training just for fitness and a little bit of strength, you don't really care much.
You did say earlier that when you first started training, you did all this heavy lifting.
I did everything that everybody else does.
When did you realize that, look, I need to change my style of training, or I need to focus more on muscle engagement?
Well, don't forget, I've been a gym owner for 35 years, okay, and I've been watching people train. I training very hard, okay. I'm not discussing how hard people train. People train harder than they really need to, and achieving very little. But what did it for me is when I knew a lot of people were using steroids and still training and still achieving very little, or only achieving something when they were on steroids, then it made me start thinking, hang on a minute, something is not right here. That means the only common denominator was the training. You know, people going about diets and nutrition. Listen, if you live in a Western society, we eat enough, we eat good quality stuff to be able to grow, okay? The problem was that the training is wrong and was wrong. And it still is a lot wrong.
Well, what about the concept about progressive overload? Is this something that you agree with?
Yeah, progressive overload, of course I agree with. But the problem is, when you tell somebody to do that, you have to explain that how much muscle can you gain in a day, in a week, in a month?
Yeah.
Very small amount.
Yeah.
How much is that going to contribute to increasing weight? Minute. Okay? So how can you go from one workout to the next? Even if you put 1.25 kilos on each side or with the dumbbells, half a kilo up, it's still not enough to contribute to the amount of strength and muscle that you've gained in that short period of time. So what happens is you try to increase your weights, but the only way you're going to lift them is by lifting them any way and anyhow possible, which takes away from the whole concept of building muscle. So people that advocate this bullshit, they should explain in very simple terms, and because themselves they don't understand it, and they pretend they know what they're talking about, and they're talking rubbish, and they make people that don't know, they're immune to the sport or they're not knowledgeable enough to follow this wrong dogma, this wrong ideology that's completely and utterly. Of course you have to increase the resistance, but it doesn't mean just the resistance. Maybe today you did 12 reps without weight.
You did 13.
If next workout or in about 3 workouts time you did 13 reps, isn't that progressive overload?
Yeah.
As long as you've done those reps, then you can increase the weight a little bit. As long as you're doing the movement correctly, that's the key.
Yeah.
Then increase it. Yeah. But if you have to cheat for the sake of increasing the weight, then that's defeating the object.
Exactly. Yep, now.
Okay, let's go. 3 more reps. One more. One more. Okay. See, but now probably your pecs are so pumped, you're not feeling it as much.
The squeeze, I think, for me still
in reality, what we did over there is probably more than enough.
Yeah.
That movement is okay. Companies that create equipment, okay, sometimes they do because that's what people want, because they're still in fashion, because people ask for them. They don't always do things biomechanically correct.
Yeah.
Okay? But that machine, it was done maybe by accident or by design. Maybe I need to speak to the designers. But also on that machine is very important where you place the seat. Yeah. Because if we had the seat higher, okay, and your elbows were lower,
you don't really feel
as you're going back, you're going to create more on your shoulders and more on your triceps, which means you'll probably be able to lift more weight, and people do lift more weight when they do it that way.
Yeah.
When you get them to do it the other way, you have to use about 50% less
that
weight.
Machine, and last year, when we were discussing, there was a machine that you showed me, seated fly. I think that is also another exercise where
we do that on the cables,
like crazy.
I use a lot of the cables. The actual principle of the movement is the same.
So having been in this industry for so many years, how have you been able to maintain such a strong mindset that has helped you succeed in this industry?
I suppose it's the hunger for, I don't want to use the word perfection, but of correctiveness, because I knew from the beginning when I went to a gym and started training when I was 20 years old, that was 42 years ago. When I was 20, I first started training. The gym I first went into only had a squat bar, a bench press, a chin-in bar, and a dip bar. No dumbbells, just free weights, okay? And I was told certain things, which they worked in the beginning. But then I realized that some of the things didn't make sense because I could see from the people that were advising me that they weren't getting the results they were supposed to be getting. So I knew something wasn't right. Then when I became a gym owner, I still follow the normal sort of routines and way of training. Then Mike Menzer came into the scene with Arthur Jones, the inventor of no-tools equipment, and they started using a bit of science into the whole process of building muscle. So some of those ideas I started following and understanding better, then slowly, I realized that the sport is so unsophisticated, so unscientific, that it's not, something is wrong. So continuously, I'm trying to find ways and reasons why certain things should be done or why things shouldn't be done. And because of that reason, and because I've been involved in watching people training and seeing their trials and tribulations, you know, including mine when I used to compete, it's like it's become a bit of an obsession to get things right and get people not to get injuries as easy as we always, you know, we get injuries. Try and get them to get more productivity in their training, talk waste, and that I think is making me it's giving me the drive.
The final question I have for you, Sam. So you saw me compete last year in fitness modeling. So my goal for the end of next year is to compete in natural bodybuilding.
Okay.
So as like an athlete, what are your tips and how should I structure my next year and a half so that I can, you know, focus on really gaining size, not bulking, but gaining lean size, and then getting contest ready to make sure, you know, I bring my best shape yet.
Okay, I might say something you don't like.
Of course,
I might say something, but I think you're still influenced by the normal media and other people that you train with regarding the way you train. I still think you could master, like we did today, your training for every single body part. If you master that, trust me, you will improve a lot, even being natural. Being natural is your advantage in a way, because you're not going to confuse the issue with building muscle through chemicals and then not knowing your training is correct or not. Now is the time to do it, is to basically calculate everything that you're doing, monitor everything that you're doing, maybe film yourself and watch yourself training and be self-critical in saying, or bring it to me and say to me, Sam, what do you think I'm doing wrong here? What am I doing not right? And that way, trust me, you will improve. I wish I knew I have the knowledge I have now when I used to compete. And trust me, I would have been a lot better than I was, but I didn't have the knowledge I have now. I didn't have the information and the statistics and everything else with this, you know? I don't want to make it sound simple, but your genetics are very good. So all you need to do is get every single time you come to the gym, it has to be productive. You have to keep thinking yourself that you're reading a book and today you're going to add to the book reading another 10 pages. Okay, and this is what you're going to do every single time. You have to imagine yourself doing that. And you have to look at things that maybe you're not sure about, maybe you're doing wrong, maybe you get sidetracked with training with other people or watching some other video that you've seen somebody training and pushing a lot of weight and doing all that. Take that out of the equation. Use the information that's sent to your brain from the muscles every single set, every single rep. And trust me, you're an intelligent guy, you're quite truthful about your physique and the way you are. It will happen.
And is there a particular muscle group you think I should really focus on?
No, I don't think you have any weaknesses as such. I think every muscle is equally developed. I don't think you have any dominant muscles, which sometimes if you have a dominant muscle, it affects the productivity of the other muscle that you're trying to hit. So you're lucky in that way. So I think just use the same intensity, the same frequency for each body part, the whole body. You know, obviously we all have a body part that it gets stimulated a lot easier. So that body part that gets stimulated easier, maybe you don't have to do as much. Maybe you can cut down and save energy for another body part that you need to do a bit more to create that stimulate.
So really listen to my body and focus on really muscle stimulation and forget ego lifting. And
that is the biggest mistake the biggest drawback that everybody has gone and is going through.
Amazing, Sav. Thank you so much for your
Thank you
help.
very much.
If you can just summarize to everyone, or what does leveling up mean to you?
It means listening to your body and forgetting the bullshit that you read and see in the media. You have to listen to your body. And if it's not working, if you're not growing, that means it's not working. You have to change it. Keep watching.
And over the next 2 years, I will take you on my own level up journey where I experiment, explore, and discover what works for me. I hope this series will help you learn and understand the process and inspire you to level up with me.